Now, if you don't study, you're not going to make it in any role, and you're certainly not going to make it in any data role, I guarantee it. Here are 3 easy tips to learn to study and learn to remember what you studied. Number one is write it down. Write it down. Right? Write it down. Take notes. Write it down using something known as flow note taking. What's flow note taking? Here we go. What is SQL? We've got a box. This is SQL. You define it. What's it defined as? What is SQL? Over here, you write down structured. Shit, I can't spell, can I? Get it? Structured query language. All right. There we go. Definition. What are the 2 kinds of SQL? There are 2 kinds. What are they? This is flowing from the one concept of SQL, right? SQL is divided, the language SQL is divided into DDL and DML. Now you're going to have to know what these are. What is DDL and what's DML? If you don't know these, you don't know this, and like SQL, the basic of SQL, you're never going to get past the basic interview. This is data definition language, and this is data manipulation language. This is flow-based note taking. All right, it flows from the main concept. How about DML? There are 4 kinds of DML. Insert, update, delete, select. All right, you can probably rearrange those to create a mnemonic tool for learning. Either way, you're going to have to write it down in your own words, and I would really encourage you to use flow-based note-taking. And this is flow-based note-taking. All right. Number 2, it's called spaced repetition. Simple. Just means you learn this, you study this over a few days, right? You look at it, and on the first day, you write it down. Day 1, we write it down. We just wrote this down. We have an idea. And then on day 2, we come back and we look at it again and we say, okay, take a piece of paper and write down all this without looking at it. Can you do that? Do you know what all this is? All right. And maybe you'll get, 80% of it right, but you still need to get the other 20%. Come back the third day. Do it again. And you come back every day until you know all this, about 95% of it, without looking at it. Right? It's called spaced repetition. And then lastly, one of the most used tools, and one of the tools that just really works, is the Feynman. I'm surely not going to spell Feynman right, am I? The Feynman technique. The Feynman technique. And this is simply, you pretend you're teaching it. So, what's that mean? It means you get a piece of paper and you pretend you're teaching it to someone. You say, you actually write down. You can even talk to it out loud. It doesn't matter, no one's around. You say, this is SQL. And then you go give it a definition. You write all this down and pretend you're teaching this to someone. All right. I promise if you do these 3 things, you're going to remember 80% or more of everything you study. I promise. Yeah, it's time consuming. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. No doubt about it. Right. Because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. But I got news for you. The only way you're going to get anywhere in the top data roles is through a lot of learning and a lot of work.